Johnson McCarty stood alone at the top floor of McCarty Global Towers, gazing down at the city that bent to his will. Below him were streets named after his companies, buildings carrying his logo, and people whose livelihoods depended on his signature. To the world, Johnson was a legend, a self-made billionaire before 40. To himself, he was just a man drowning in silence. Every evening followed the same pattern: lavish dinners with women who laughed too loudly, touched him too easily, and asked questions that always circled back to money. They admired his watches, his cars, his penthouse, but never him. The moment he hinted at limits, their affection faded like mist. His assistant, Daniel Cross, often noticed the emptiness. "Sir," Daniel once said gently, "success means nothing if you can't share it." Johnson dismissed him with a wave, but the words stayed. Late one night, Johnson visited his childhood home on the outskirts of the city. It was modest, worn, and full of memories. His mother, Mrs. Eleanor McCarty, waited for him with warm tea and tired eyes. She had worked 2 jobs after Johnson's father died of cancer, selling her only inherited land so her son could study abroad. "You look rich," she said softly, "but you look lonely." Johnson laughed bitterly. "Love isn't real anymore, Mom. People love what I have, not who I am." She reached for his hand. "Then stop showing them what you have." That sentence would change everything. The following week, Johnson tried to bury himself in work: board meetings, acquisitions, charity galas, yet his mother's words echoed in his mind. One evening, she called again, her voice calm but determined. "Disguise yourself. Live as nothing. Let people meet the man, not the fortune." Johnson scoffed. "You want me to pretend to be poor? I escaped that life." Mrs. McCarty replied firmly, "You escaped poverty, not humility." Days later, Johnson attended a charity event hosted by Kate Benson, daughter of industrial tycoon Harold Benson. Kate was sharp-tongued, ambitious, and ruthless, everything Johnson despised in elite society. Watching her belittle waitstaff only strengthened his curiosity. That night, unable to sleep, Johnson called his mother. "I'll do it," he said quietly. With Daniel's reluctant help, Johnson erased his public identity. New documents, new name, new life. He moved into a cramped apartment in Riverside District, far from luxury. His neighbor, Mrs. Alvarez, a widowed seamstress, welcomed him with homemade soup. "You're new," she smiled. "Life here isn't easy." Johnson nodded, already feeling the weight of humility. Weeks passed. Johnson searched for work endlessly: construction sites, grocery stores, warehouses. Rejection followed rejection. Employers glanced at his resume and scoffed at his lack of real experience. At night, he listened to sirens and arguments through thin walls. Poverty was not romantic. It was exhausting. One morning, Mrs. Alvarez introduced him to her nephew, Miguel, a mechanic. "Try Benson Industries. They need drivers." Johnson hesitated. Fate was mocking him. He applied. Benson Industries ruled with iron precision. Determined to prove she deserved the CEO seat, she trusted no one. When Johnson arrived for the interview, she barely looked at him. "You're hired," she said coldly. "Don't waste my time." On his first day, nerves overtook him. A wrong turn, a near collision. Kate erupted. "Are you stupid?" she screamed. "Do you know who I am?" Humiliated, Johnson apologized repeatedly. That night, he called his mother, broken. She laughed gently. "Did you expect kindness from privilege?" The next morning, Johnson arrived late due to a bus delay. Kate stood waiting, furious. She slapped him in front of staff. Witnesses included Laura Finch, HR manager, who looked away silently. Johnson said nothing. Weeks passed. Kate insulted him daily. Johnson endured quietly. His kindness confused coworkers, especially Ethan Moore, a junior executive. "Why don't you quit?" Ethan asked. "Because running teaches nothing," Johnson replied. One night, Johnson heard screams near the company garage. He ran and froze. Kate was being attacked by her boyfriend Ryan Cole, intoxicated and violent. Johnson intervened, taking blows meant for her. He drove her to his tiny apartment, called a discreet doctor, Dr. Samuel Lee, an old family friend, unaware of Johnson's identity. Kate stayed for a week. No luxury, just quiet safety. During recovery, Kate saw Johnson's life, his simplicity, his kindness to neighbors, his calls to his mother. "Why help me?" she whispered one night. "To forgive is strength," Johnson said. Kate cried. Kate returned to work transformed. She treated Johnson with respect. They talked, laughed. One night, stranded on a rural highway, Johnson stayed with her under the stars. She confessed her fear of failure. Johnson confessed nothing, but listened. Love grew quietly. The truth exploded during a board meeting when Daniel Cross revealed Johnson's identity as a silent partner. Kate confronted him, shattered. "I hid my wealth," Johnson said, kneeling, "not my heart." She understood. Months later, under open skies, Kate walked down the aisle, not to a billionaire, not to a driver, but to a man who chose humility over power. "You hid your wealth," she whispered. "And found my home," he replied. True love had finally found him.